All right, looks like we are ready to go here. It is October 25th, almost time for Halloween. So some of you guys know I'm going to be in Vegas next week, and it's pretty exciting to be on Fremont Street on Halloween night. It's pretty crazy stuff goes on down there. So we will be having a good time there. I am going to be on the call regular time next week. Hopefully my connectivity from Vegas will be good and we won't have any issues. All right, so it looks like we got some familiar faces, some new faces here. Looks like Mr. McLean is on. Andrew there, he's probably, well, I don't know if you're our furthest out because we got Lewis down below. He's in Spain. So you guys are probably neck and neck for the furthest away. So, all right. And Joe is back on with us after a long sabbatical. So anyway, hopefully you guys liked the content last week, showing you the way to Google Post inside your Google My Business accounts. That's a pretty cool thing. If you are not familiar with that, I would really recommend that you go to the archive, the call archive, and take a look at that, because it was really a good segment that we did last week. So I would check that out. There's, as far as SEO, you know, this call covers, like I've mentioned, it covers everything from beginning basic SEO concepts to very advanced marketing strategies. So we pretty much cover it all at this point. And you guys are more than welcome to hop in and ask any questions, you know, anywhere on that rainbow of, of plethora of topics. So it's open to anything, including business. You know, we talk a lot about business strategy too, as well, especially when it comes to picking niches. A lot of people get stuck on that. You know, they want to start a business, they're not familiar with business. So a lot of times they'll go down the wrong path, just not knowing any better. And this call is completely open to that as well. If you guys want to brainstorm business strategies for particular businesses you might be thinking of entering into, because we do have a lot of people that are, you know, they're in the day job and they're straddling, they're trying to get out of that, trying to get over the bump, you know, into the realm of freedom that we all desire so deeply. And you know, for me, I've really never been in the corporate world other than as a provider of services. Even back when I was a teenager, I never really had a traditional job. No one would hire me. I was kind of unemployable, and I didn't really get why, but it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because it forced me right from the beginning to be in business, to generate money, to, you know, to do the things I wanted to do. And for me, that served me very well. So I think that's something that really drives me, and I think it's driving a lot of other people. The only thing that's you know, that may be holding you back is just not knowing how, not knowing the next step to take. So anyway, if that's something you guys want to discuss, really absolutely feel free to hop out and ask any questions that you know, that you may have for any of that stuff. I did have a question here I want to hit first. Came from Andrew, long way away over there in the UK. So let me find that, and I'll address that first. Talking about Kartra, his first question is about Kartra. Can I set up an email broadcast and post to the blog at the same time? Post to his blog. As far as that goes, Kartra is absolutely awesome for setting up those email broadcasts that you're talking about. Really cool thing is, in Kartra operates just like Infusionsoft, only it's a whole lot easier to understand and to implement. It's like, I tell people, Kartra is what Infusionsoft wanted to be. And it's affordable, It's easy to operate. I've moved a number of people now off of Infusionsoft onto Kartra, and they absolutely could not be happier. They can actually implement their marketing campaigns now. Where with Infusionsoft, they couldn't do anything. It was so overwhelming for them to even take a step inside there or even understand the control panel. So the really cool thing about doing mail broadcasts from Kartra is it's so easy to segment your list. You can go in and you can even do it manually if you want. You could go in and decide, hey, some people in my list, they're interested in this thing. I know this, so you can go in and assign a tag to them. And then later in the future, if you want to send a specific email just to the people that have that tag, you can do that. That will make your response rates go through the roof if you're sending an email and it actually looks like it is directly to them and it's highly pertinent to them and what they're interested in. That's one thing. If you're doing email blasts and you have a big list and you're doing just generic blasts, a couple of things are going to happen. The first thing is you're not going to get much engagement. Second thing is you'll probably have a lot of people that opt out of your list. You know, your list is your gold within your business. That's your way to communicate your value. It's your way that you can re-grab their attention later in the future and refocus them. It's a way for you to create demand and desire within your prospect list to come back and work with you or get them to work with you for the first time. So that's really important that you treat that list like gold. I see so many people, so many marketers that, you know, they're doing affiliate offers and that's how they make money, and that's great. I have no problem with that. But when you just start throwing everything you find down the pipe at your whole list, you're going to alienate a lot of them. It's really important that you just send the right offers to the right people. And I know that's a smaller target group, but I guarantee you will get better results overall across the board. You know, you want to treat those are people that follow you. It's like you guys follow me. Think about how you would feel about me if I just started throwing every offer under the book at you. You'd go, yeah, that guy is just like the rest of them, and you'd get off my list. I don't do that. You know, when I come across something really good, I bring it to you guys and I feel that's valuable, but I don't throw everything I come across. Like, you know, I talk to a lot of people and they want to know, you know, they'll bring things to me and they'll say, hey, is this any good? And they haven't bought it yet. They're looking for my opinion. And part of what I do is, you know, collectively, you guys all pay for the support call. So collectively, some of those funds go into a pot that I buy stuff to see if it's worthwhile. So you guys don't have to. You don't have to spend your money on it. I buy that stuff. I look at it. I evaluate it. And I got to tell you, you know, 90 to 95% of it, you'll never hear about it from me because it's garbage. You know, I'll buy it, look at it, evaluate it, use it, and generally throw it away. But it's those few that I find that really are valuable that I can use, and those are the only ones I bring out to you guys. So it's like, you know, I'm sifting through the trash, and that saves you guys a tremendous amount of money. If you look at how much I spend buying garbage, it would scare you. You'd all go broke by the time you got to the end of the rainbow. The only way I can even afford to do it is because of this group. You know, collectively, a few pennies off everybody, and you know, we're good. We have a budget to go ahead and do that, and you know, and sort through that. So it's kind of like group insurance. You know, you buy group insurance way cheaper than if you were to buy it on your own. So it's a value and benefit of the group. So anyway, the other part of your question, Andy, is can you connect that to a blog? I don't know of any way that you can do that through Kartra itself. They do have some advanced automations that I haven't explored all of that yet, so there may be a way. I'm not going to say there's not a way, but I'm not aware of an easy way to do that right out of the gate. But what you could do, it's so easy to send email blasts through Kartra. What I would recommend is setting up your blog, do your blog posts on the blog, and then just copy your text out, paste it into Kartra, and just blast it out to the right segment of your list that it's pertinent to. So, you know, it's a two-step process, but it's really an easy step. You're going to have to write the content anyway. So you write it one place, you copy it, you paste it, and out it goes. So, you know, simple solution to that. Let's see, second question you had is how to track links and do link cloaking. I would say probably the most available thing that I know of is Bitly. It's bit.ly. It's a link shortener. So if you take your link and you throw it into Bitly, it will give you a Bitly link. And you can edit those, you can customize them, and then it's kind of like link cloaking. No one will ever see what the underlying link is until they click on your Bitly link. And then Bitly gives you a nice control panel so you can see all of your traffic that went through that link. It's pretty cool. And it's a free service. So that would be a good one. Google has a similar tool. I don't know the name of it offhand. It's been discussed in years past, but I would prefer to use the Bitly tool than give that information to Google. So, other thing, let's see. Your third one was about WordPress themes. I'm probably not the best guy to ask about WordPress because I have very limited hands-on knowledge with WordPress. I'm not a WordPress guy. I never really have been. I was really excited about Kartra because in the past I had used a web development program called NetObject Fusion. It's an awesome program, and I've been using that thing for a couple of decades now. Really, it's gone that far. It kind of scares me how long I've been involved in this stuff. It's starting to make me look old. But I love that program. It was total drag and drop because, like you guys, I'm not a programmer. I don't program HTML. In 20 years, I've looked at enough code that I kind of know what it all does. But for me to write HTML code, no way. I'm not that guy. I'd pull what little hair I have left out if that were the case. But that program allowed me to create all the websites I wanted without having to know HTML code. The problem with it was when mobile came out, mobile started becoming a real powerhouse. They didn't update. The program didn't update to mobile friendly. And that has been a real issue because your sites really need to be mobile friendly at this point. There's very, very few industries left where mobile is not affecting them. There's some manufacturers now that really people would only be looking at their stuff during business hours from their business, like business to business type of stuff. Mobile's not as important for them, but for the most of us, mobile is really, you got to have it. So if you're not building mobile sites, you're in trouble. So hold on just a sec. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I had to grab some water. I had something going on with my throat there. But anyway, yeah, mobile is really, really important. So I was really bummed that NetObject Fusion didn't make that transition into the mobile scene. But when Kartra came out, I was really excited because it works a lot like the Fusion program that I was so used to. And building sites in there has been really kind of a piece of cake. The only drawback, I was considering recreating my entire website using Kartra. But what I've found the Kartra pages are not quite as SEO friendly as, you know, regular HTML. So I'm still reevaluating that. I've got some conversations going on with the people from Kartra, letting them know what it needs to do to actually be SEO friendly. So hopefully they'll jump on board. That's what I'm hoping for. So anyway, let's see. Last question here. Oh, that was it for the WordPress themes. There's a lot of WordPress themes out there. What I would do if I were you, I would go to a site called ThemeForest. I believe it's themeforest.net. They have thousands of WordPress sites. And what you want is no matter what site you're working on, you want it to be responsive. So what responsive is that's not just mobile friendly, that's responsive to any device. So that's the way, you know, at this point, if you're building a site, you want it to be responsive. That should be a requirement. So that's something you want to definitely take into consideration. So, all right, at this point, we can go ahead and open up to questions. Ted, it looks like you got your line open.
Yeah, John, I'm having trouble with my keyword research.
Okay.
I can't figure out how you got 50,000 keywords in one Excel sheet.
Okay.
I don't have SEMrush, so I only get a few hundred keywords at one time, and I always have to put them in separate spreadsheets, and I can't figure out how to merge them.
Okay. Well, it's the way I did that was a manual process. So to answer your question, I don't know how to merge the spreadsheets either. I think there is a way. I think if you got a hold of somebody, you might be able to go to Fiverr and look for an expert in Excel spreadsheets and ask them, say, look, I've got 10 different spreadsheets and I want to merge all the data. All the fields are the same. Gwen says, yes, you can merge. I knew you could. Somebody knows how to do it. And, you know, maybe if we figure it out, we'll bring it on here and show everybody how to do it. Because to me, I know it would save me a bunch of time too. Because what I did, the way I got a 50,000 keyword list was I basically took all of my seed keywords. I made a list of seed keywords and I went into SEMrush and I used it as the keyword finder. So I just put the keyword in. I didn't put a domain in. I put the keywords in, and basically when you put a keyword in, it's going to come back with a list of related keywords and all the data for it. All the pay-per-click data, the search volumes, all that. And I would export that. So now I have an exported Excel sheet with that data based on that keyword. So then I would basically repeat that process, and I repeated that process probably, 50 times doing that. So I had 50 Excel spreadsheets. Now I had to manually open each one, copy the contents, and paste it onto one main sheet. So at the end of that, I had one sheet that had, it probably had 70 or 80,000 in it. And then I deduplicated it and it took it down to about 50,000. Because one thing you'll have a lot of crossover when you're doing keyword research this way. Each sheet is going to have crossover from the next sheet because similar keywords, unless your base root keywords are really, really different, you're going to have crossover. And you want to be able to sift and sort that out right up front. So that was one of the things that I did was merged them all. And again, I did it manually. I know there's an easier way. I just haven't figured it out yet. But
I tried copying and pasting it and I couldn't figure that out.
yeah, you can copy and paste them really easily. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find that. and I'll show you how I did it. Let's see, and I know I got that stuff around here somewhere.
Yeah, all the training I looked up to merge them showed it that they were all together already. So I couldn't figure out how to merge them, and I tried copy and pasting. I couldn't figure that out.
Okay, well here, let me show you. I've got the got my sheet up here. So here's all the different keywords that I ran. Like I ran ad agency model. I ran advertising course. I ran advertising techniques. So all of these, I basically would open the first one.
So they're all separate spreadsheets.
Yes, each one is a separate spreadsheet. So it's got, like, you can see the search volume, the cost per click, the competition, all that stuff. So it's all in there. So the next thing I would do, I would open the second one and get this guy open. And what I would do, I would take that top button here in the top left corner, that'll highlight everything. And then I just right click and copy. And then I go back to my original document and I'd go down to the end and I'd select this cell and then I just paste in. It's not allowing me to do that because I had to do the edit. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I didn't hit that top left-hand corner. Maybe that's what I have to do.
yeah, because you got to get the data copied. So you have to select the data to copy it. So that's probably where you're missing. And then you paste it in, and now you see I've got my original, and then I've got the new stuff in there.
Yeah, thank you for that.
That's basically how you do it. And then you'll notice this is going to be a duplicate line. And then when you want to sort the data, you go to the data tab, and then there's a deduplicate duplicates, remove duplicates. So you hit that and hit go. Actually, let me do that again. Deduplicate, and I'll unselect, and I'll just go by keyword. It says no duplicates found, which is interesting. Maybe those two were so different that that there was no duplicates between them. But anyway, that's the way I did that. And then I've got, let's see, somewhere I've got the final one that I did.
Did you ever get to the end of it?
I did. It took me a long time to get to the end of it. But let me see if I can find that one. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is my final list of what I came up with. After I got, the 50,000 all in one shot, I created tabs along the bottom and I sorted them into the different categories. So under courses, you'll see I've got this one just on courses. This is every keyword through all of those different phrases that came up for courses. And I've got...
And to separate them, you opened up a new tab. How did you do that? I mean...
Oh, on the tabs, I'll show you that in just a second, but I've got 1,987 keywords related to courses. I did the same thing for client acquisition, marketing, leads, traffic, SEO specific.
Yeah, I love the way you did it.
Advertising. So we've got the whole thing, and if you scroll across, you'll see there's a bunch of these categories. And then over on the right, you see this little tab where it says Insert Worksheet?
Yeah.
That will give you a new sheet.
Ah, okay.
And then you right click, you rename it, you can call it whatever you want. That's how I named the tabs.
Thank you very much.
So that's how I pulled this off. but it was a monumental project. I mean, it took me weeks to do that. And obviously I didn't work full time on it, but I spent a lot of time doing that. But what I came out with, you'll notice all those tabs, every one of those tabs is a targeted group of people to create a mailing list about, because I know what they want and I know how they're looking for it. So I could create a landing page for each one of those tabs. And then if I wanted to be lazy and go the fast, easy route, I could just go and do a pay-per-click program. I don't know if you noticed, but a tremendous amount of those keywords had 0 cost per click. No one is bidding on them. When you do your keyword research 50,000 wide, you will find a lot of little holes, and you can take advantage of those holes. Imagine buying keywords, buying traffic at 10, 15 cents a click through Google. You might have thought those days were over, but no, I found hundreds of those keyword opportunities in little specific niches. There's probably 30 different sets of keywords that I sorted those into. But I know they're all deduplicated. It's one solid list of keywords that is now segmented. So that's how I did it. Your problem if you do each list individually, you're going to come up with a lot of crossover. So you're going to have the same keyword in multiple different assets, different lists. So, and again, SEO, the whole ACT program and true marketing, really good marketing, ties into SEO. They are so related, it's crazy. Because the most important factor today in SEO is the fact that Google's RankBrain is systematically figuring out what good content looks like. They're using machine learning to figure out what a good user experience is. And that's a big part of their algorithm at this point, is who's going to be on top is based on that factor. Sure, linking is important because linking gets their attention. Linking can bring people to your site. But if you've got 10,000 links coming to your site and there's no traffic coming through them, that's a pretty good signal to Google that your content isn't worth anything, or you're just spamming them. So, that's why mass linking is not a good idea at this point. I would rather have 10 really good sourced links on sites that have traffic that would be interested in what I have, and giving that link out that's got link bait, why they should click on it. Those 10 really powerful links would outweigh 10,000 garbage links. There's no reason to do garbage links at this point. If you've got something really good, this is a great strategy, by the way, and it has to do with using influencers. If you've got influencers that you've created relationships with, and if you don't, you should put this on your radar. You want to figure out who are the influencers that could promote you. I'm not talking about direct competitors. I'm talking about influencers like bloggers. Andrew was talking about doing blogging. So you want to find a blogger that is blogging and has a big following in your niche, in what you're doing. You want to make that connection with them and offer them an affiliate if they will promote you. That way they can put your link on their site. They can promote you. They can do a podcast with you, or they can do a webinar with you. Maybe just an interview that they transcribe, put it on their site as content. Bloggers are always looking for content. Bloggers have followings generally. Those are really good people to get to know because they can promote you, and they'll do it happily. That's why they're doing what they're doing, is to create an audience so they can monetize it. So why not monetize it with you? That's the best link you're ever going to get, because you're going to have somebody that's an influence in your niche literally driving and forcing people through a link that Google's going to see. When they see traffic coming through links, that is a real prize. That means you've got good content. That means they're going to pay attention to you. That means they're going to put you up in the rank. They're going to test you. And it's just a test. When you grab their attention, be it from links or anything else, they're going to say, hey, you know, let's give this a shot. They're going to put you on the first page, and they're going to look and see what happens. If you don't follow through, they're going to drop you off, and you may never come back. So the follow through, that is the engagement. That's like if somebody clicks on your link. If you're on the first page, you know, you haven't made it home yet. Even if they put you at number 1, you're not home yet. You've got to lock that in and prove that you belong there. You know, you have to prove that Google did the right thing, made the right choice, and put you number 1. And if you don't, you won't be there for very long. Because as soon as their machine learning spends a few days looking and analyzing the traffic that came to you and the traffic that came to everyone else on that page, who do you think's going to win? You know, if no one clicks on your link and they're clicking on the other 9, what's that tell them? You probably don't belong there. If they click on your link and they hit your site and they bounce off, what's that tell Google? That was bad content. You probably don't belong there. Keep in mind, Google's pure job is to provide good content so they can get a huge user base that they can sell ads to. You know, or they sell ads to the advertisers, but the bigger the base is, the more they can make on selling those ads. So that's their whole purpose. And if you're not along for that ride, if you're going against that, you know, you go against that grain, and they're going to swat you off like a fly. You're just going to be a pest. And out comes the fly swatter. And you know how that works for the fly, right? You don't want to be the fly. So you've got to work with them. And by providing quality content, you engage people after they click. They spend time on your site. They'll click deeper into your site. And if you look, the top 3, the average time on site for a top 3 listing is 3 minutes plus. So if you look at your analytics, let's say you've got Google Analytics running, or any kind of analytics program where you can view your traffic. If your traffic is on your site on an average less than 3 minutes, then it's questionable whether you belong at the top. Because if you look at the ones at the top, they're going to be 3 plus, 3 minutes plus. And that's like the time. They call that dwell time. How long did the user dwell on your site before they hopped off? So that's really important. And the reason that keyword research and segmenting your content is so important is so when somebody does land on a page, they feel like they got the right answer. And you engage them and you give them really good content. That's why in SEO they talk about length of page. They say the longer pages rank better. Well, it's not ranking better because it's got more words on the page. It's ranking better because it's keeping you on the page longer to consume the content. I've seen pages that have a video on them, a 20-minute video that's really compelling, that's got literally no words on the page other than click here to continue or something like that. And those pages outrank long content pages all day long because they engage the user, and it was the dwell time. It's not necessarily the number of words on the page. You know, that's a long time old factor that's out the window now. Google's rank brain doesn't care. It couldn't care less about how many words you have on the page. It cares about the user experience. That's what they're looking at. And that boils down to click-through. How many people click through to your site? How long they stay? How many pages deep they go? And do they come back? Do they bookmark you and come back directly? Google knows that. You know, everybody thinks that Google only knows if you went through their search engine. They think that's the only way that you know, or that they know rather, but that's not true. there's a thing built into all web browsers called safe web browsing. It's a mechanism to protect your computer against viruses coming through the web. Guess who controls that? Yeah, it's Google. Google controls safe web browsing. So I guarantee you, unless you've turned it off physically, which most people don't know how to do, they know everything you do through that web browser. They know every site you go to, every link you follow. They know every action that you've taken. And that goes back to about 2006 when they started that little program. So they know. They know there's that user experience. They got that down. You know, it wasn't until a few years ago they actually implemented the thing that they call RankBrain. And in SEO, you know, that just threw a big old tissy out into the SEO field because everybody was talking about it, but nobody understood what it was. You know, but it's really simple. It's machine learning to figure out what a good user experience is. There's only a few factors for that, you know, so it's pretty simple if you look at it. All right, so let me look at the questions here. If any of you guys have questions, go ahead and feel free to unmute yourself and come out. I'm happy to answer anything you got here. Okay, I'm just looking through the chat here. Okay, so Mariette, yes, for SEO, just because you buy a responsive theme, it does not mean it's SEO optimized. There's a lot of little things that needs to go in there, like to optimize your content for your on page. Probably the biggest thing for that is your titles. Every page in your site has a title, and that's a place, that's an opportunity to put a keyword in that's relevant to the content on the page. I wouldn't recommend stuffing keywords in there anymore. I would keep it to one main keyword and possibly some variations of that or something related to that. To be able to find what's related, the best trick I know, and this is really simple, I mean, this is drop dead stupid simple, is to go to Google itself and put the keyword in and then scroll to the bottom of the page and it has related things there, related links. It will tell you what it feels is related. If you just take that, it's almost like, you know, if you look at a really good salesperson, a really good salesperson will sit you down and the first thing they do is they start asking questions of you to find out what's important to you. And then when they start giving you their presentation, their sales spiel, they will feed your own words right back to you. Well, that's what we're doing, that same strategy. We're just doing it with Google. We're saying, hey, Google, what's important to you? So that's what I'm going to give you back. So
when I have that keywords ready for the related links, is it something that I can just, that small task that I can ask you guys to do? Or that's what I mean. I don't really want to do it myself because I'm not.
Oh, sure.
Or that's what I mean. Like I know I've got it 3 years going and I really want to now make sure that's correct. So who should I?
Yeah, you could probably get an outsourcer to do that really easily. It's not a big job.
Yeah.
In SEO, like when we do an SEO campaign, we would do that as part of the process.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to do it yourself and you don't want to go in and play with the WordPress stuff, you can hire somebody off of Fiverr that can go in and do that stuff for you. I wouldn't depend on them to do your keyword research. I would do that myself and give them all of that.
Yes, now I will do that and I'll look at your ACT information that I have.
Yeah, I would give them the titles. Another thing too that where ACT really ties into SEO is that click-through ratio. Because when let's say your page does finally rank and it shows up on Google, the thing that's going to get you the click-through ratio is going to be your title and your description, because that's what shows up. That's what people see.
Okay.
And if your title and your description is better than the rest of the ones on the page, you're going to get a higher click-through ratio. That's going to send that signal to Google Google's going to say, wow, that site's getting higher click-through ratio than the ones above it. It probably belongs up there. And that's what they look at. That's how they shuffle the deck.
Okay.
Everything, to kind of put it into terms, because most people don't understand algorithm and, all the stuff behind the scenes. So I like to put it into simpler terms. It's like a scoring system, and they give you points for everything. And at the end of the day, whoever has the most points is going to win. So there's points for things like having your keyword in the title. There's points for relevance of the content on the page. There's relevance for, having your H1 tags and, in place. This is all on-page type stuff it should be standard procedure for somebody that's creating a website just to do things correctly. And
yeah.
And all of those things go back to Yahoo. Yahoo set the standard. When SEO was really fresh in the very beginning, Yahoo was the ones that wrote the playbook on on-page optimization. And it was really, really important back then because that's all there was. They didn't count links. They were just looking at the content on the page. So they're the ones that really set the standard for what on-page optimization should be like. And it has not changed at all. It's the same as it was when they first printed it.
Okay.
The only thing that's changed is all the other factors that came into play down the road throughout the years, which it moved to when everybody gamed that system so much, you couldn't trust it anymore. Then they went to links, and it went to the idea of we're going to trust whoever has the most links because it's almost like a popularity contest. Google was looking at it as though if no one links to you, how important could you be? So that's how they moved to that. And then once that system got gamed to where they couldn't trust that anymore, they went to what I called the final frontier. And I've been talking about this, that it's been coming since 2011.
Yeah.
And that's what I call the final frontier in SEO. And I don't really see where it's going to go after this, is the user experience. That's the true value of content, how the user reacts to it.
Yeah.
So I think what they've done is brilliant. They've actually decided on a mode of deciding who's going to be on top based on reality. Who has the best content, truly.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
But yeah, I would try, like, if you just want to get somebody cheap that can do the grunt work for you, there's a lot of people on Fiverr that can do that, for a few bucks. It's probably worth just getting somebody to do that for you.
And so the one that you need a bigger expert is more on the monthly and the update one. Is that correct?
Yeah. Like we do SEO campaigns for companies, and
yes,
we're looking at not only the on-page, which is, it's a small factor. We're looking at where we can get links that are really quality links coming.
Yes. And I want to do a little more changes on my website before I will do that. But okay, thank you so much.
But really, if you focus on some of the other aspects, you would probably be better to find influencers.
Mm-hmm.
People that would send traffic to you.
Yes.
And in your particular arena, you're selling promotional items for companies, so business to business.
Mm-hmm.
So you could really make a connection to anybody that has a large audience of business owners.
That's true.
You could go to a CPA firm, that's doing all their books and say, hey, all of your customers could use my products. I'd be happy to give you a commission on making those referrals. Yeah,
at the moment, that's what for the last 3 years, pretty much. But I do want to touch up on some of the website traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. You should, by all means, take advantage of every traffic source you can get.
Yes.
But the influencers is quick. It's easy, and it really, other than the time to set the relationship up, it doesn't really cost you anything.
Yeah.
And if they don't sell anything, then you don't pay them anything.
Yes. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's performance.
Good advice. So. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. All right. So let's see. Cheryl's asking, is dwell time only one page or the site? It's dwell time, yeah, it's the entire site. So in your Google Analytics, you can actually see they measure two things. They measure time on page and then time on site. And they would both really be considered dwell time. So either one, the longer you can keep them on your site, the better off you are. The more pages deep you can get them to click, the better off you are. And there's some really good examples of this. If you ever go to an entertainment site, and when I say entertainment, I'm talking about like going to the movies, that kind of entertainment, or like Entertainment Tonight, any of those sites where it's a big, big national site for that, like Edward Cinemas. If you go to a site like that, or any of the big movie or TV stations that do entertainment, like Entertainment Tonight, that kind of stuff, they all have a lot of advertising on their sites. And some of the best I've ever seen are on those sites. And even sites like CNN, where you're going for news and stuff, what you'll see the ads on the site, and they will give you such attention-grabbing headlines that you literally have to click on it. And like an example is, there's a picture of Leonardo DiCaprio, when he was major in the news. I saw a picture of him, and it said he had just bought some, multi-million-dollar home. And I forget how much it was. It was like $10 million or something. And it says, click here to find out what actors, he is number 10 on the list. Find out the 10 actors that have bigger, more expensive homes than him. It's like, you're like, really? They've got more expensive homes than him? Okay, I bite. I'll click on it. And then when you go there, it shows you one. And then you have to click to see the next one, and click to see the next one. By the time you're done, you've spent 20 minutes on this site, and you've probably clicked 20 or 30 links. That's a pretty darn good signal to Google that this is an important site. Even if it's just for, pure vanity, pure junk. I mean, it's just entertainment. Same thing with like movie stars. Anything that's hot in the, in the news, you'll see these kind of things. In your business, you want to try and decipher, what in my business could I make a list like that would be really compelling, that would get people to have to know what's on that list. Like I've seen this for an insurance company. These guys do automotive insurance. And it was actually one of their vendors that they do it was a law firm actually. They work with insurance companies, but what they do is they do accident. So they're personal injury attorneys. And what they did was really a brilliant campaign. They said there's 5 things that you need to know within the first 30 seconds of being in an accident. And then there was some kind of a scare headline with it. If you don't know these 5 things and you mess up on even one of them, it could ruin your chances of getting a settlement in your favor, even if it's not your fault. Like somebody that's kind of interested in that, or even somebody that drives a car, should be interested in knowing what those 5 things are, because chances are you're going to get in an auto accident at some point in your life. And the case is that the argument for the case here is, if you do and when you do, be pretty important to know what these 5 things are, right? It's free. Just click the link. Pretty much a no-brainer. So you need to figure out what that is in your business and how to put that out. They call that a lead magnet. Anything you can do to generate a lead is a lead magnet. And one of the best things that you can do for a lead magnet is something short like that, like the top 3 things, or the 3 things you got to know, or the 3 things that could ruin you, the 3 things that could explode your business. Keep it short. Don't make huge lists. Like, don't make a list of, the top 50, because that's not easy to consume. I would go up to maybe 10 at the most. Top 10 lists are really good. But you don't have to go to 10. You could do 3 or 5 or, whatever it may be. We've done a lot of lead magnets lately for companies that's 3 to 5. I generally don't go out to 10, but if you want to, you can. Just don't go beyond that. Because one of the things that makes a lead magnet really work and really powerful is the idea that it's easily consumable. They consume it fast. Like I see people that are writing books, and this is a strategy a lot of marketers are leaning on. They say you got to have a book. You got to write a book. It's your entry point in. Well, that, books are great. They do give you authority and all this kind of stuff, but they don't make a good lead magnet, because the idea of consuming a book is a lot of work. On average, nobody's going to read your book. The reason that you write it is so you can say you're an author. You can say, I wrote the book on this subject matter. That's great. That gives you credibility, but it's not a good lead magnet. You need something that is up front you can give away that's really easily consumable. They can take it, they can take it in a matter of seconds or minutes, and it creates a demand and a desire for what you have. They need more. Then you can lead them to the next thing, the next free thing, and eventually you're going to educate them in that process to they need your product. They can't live without it. So that's the idea of really good marketing. And if you take that, you put it into your web page, you're creating really good SEO, because you're leading them and you're grabbing their attention, you're pulling them in, you're creating demand and desire, you're getting them to click more, spend more time, engage you on your site, show Google that you're valuable, and then you're getting them to want to buy your product. It's a win-win-win all the way around. It's the way marketing should be. It's the way your website should be designed. It should be designed around as many different lead magnets as you can to pull them in. This is something too that a lot of people don't get. Marketing campaigns and products are not the same. You can have one product that has 10 different marketing campaigns to it. They're not a 1-to-1 ratio. If you have a product, your product or service could probably serve several different niches. It could probably serve several different avatars. And keep in mind, your avatars have different desires. So a marketing campaign is made for an avatar to create demand and desire for a product. So if you've got 10 different avatars that could consume your product, you need 10 different marketing campaigns, unfortunately. That's what makes them successful. It's when people create one marketing campaign and they try and hit everybody, they think everyone is their avatar, that's when they fail. That's when they go and they spend money to drive traffic to something that does not convert. And that's really sad, because by the time they're done with that, they feel like a failure and they say, well, this just didn't work, and they throw in the towel. And it's like they were one step away from gold. All they needed to do was segment their avatars, figure out, which avatar is right for, for that marketing campaign, for that product. So, like in your case, Mariette, you should be thinking about what kind of a consumable thing could I give to people up front to bring their awareness up of what I have and show them why they need it. It's an education process of why they need it, why they can't live without it. You might throw out the 5 unheard of benefits that business owners don't know to giving away incentive items. Something like that. And then this is really easy to create these things, because again, I'm kind of leaning on Fiverr a lot right now, because there's so many real good resources within there that you can actively get to. They're easy. You know, you just throw a post out there saying what you need, and you'll get 10 people coming back saying, hey, I'll do it for $5. I'll do it for $10. And they'll do it. You know, you don't pay them till it's done. It's awesome. It's an awesome resource. So what you would do is you would come up with those 5 things, whatever they might be, and then you throw out on Fiverr, you say, I need someone to write me a report, do some research, and write me up a general report on, I need the stats on these 5 things. Give me anything I can know about these 5 things that you can find that we can prove. You know, like for instance, I threw out a stat on dwell time. I got that off of Fiverr. I said, do some research and tell me what the average dwell time is of a #1 listing. They came back, it's 3+ minutes.
Wow.
So
I just don't know if it's, I don't feel comfortable to like let people have a passwords for my website that I don't know if I can trust. You know, like if I have to add the link, the keywords and things.
Sure, yeah. Okay, on that type of outsourcer, what you can do is you can set up a user, like you can set up a WordPress user that does not have admin access, that only has access to certain things.
Okay.
And then once they're done, just change the password.
Okay.
So that's how you would do it.
That's a good trick. Okay.
Sure. But as far as like, you know, get them to do the research, they'll put the research together, and then you can take it and you can rewrite it and turn it into marketing.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, because generally they're going to write dry. It's going to be very dry and boring. And all I'm looking for is I'm looking for the little nuggets I can pull out of there and turn that into marketing materials.
Never.
You know, like one of the things that I teach in the ACT program is the formula to eliminate any objection, and it's claim proof benefit. So if someone has an objection, you know, that's the only thing that stands between you and a sale. When you do the first 2 things, you grab their attention and you create their desire, the only thing at that point that stands between you and making a sale is an objection. So the way to eliminate any objection is the formula claim proof benefit. So their objection, I can almost guarantee you, is based on a belief that they have. They might have a belief of, you know, it might be, hey, I tried that before and it didn't work, so it doesn't work. That's their belief. That's their objection. So for you to overcome that objection, you have to make a claim that this works no matter who you are and no matter what your experience has been. That's a contrary statement to their belief. So the first thing is bullshit. They don't believe it because, you know, you're going against their belief, right? So the way you overcome that is you come in with proof. Now it's not you saying it. This is proof out of the market. Like I made a claim that if you want to be a top listing, you've got to have dwell time. And then I came back with proof from the market. If you look at the top pages, they're 3 minutes plus. That's a claim proof. Now I tie it to the benefit. The benefit is if you get your dwell time up and you get that #1 slot, you're going to get 34% of all Google searchers to click on your site and get on your website. And again, that's a proof point out of the industry. It's an industry proof point. It's not me saying it. This is the industry saying it. You know, when you get third-party verification, your claim now just became true. So when you change their truth, what happens to their belief? Poof, it disappears. So you've just eliminated the objection. And you've tied this thing back to what they really want. So it's claim proof benefit. It's the way you eliminate any objection. I didn't come up with that. You know, any of you guys that have been following me know where that came from. I researched that back. It came from Benjamin Franklin. You know, it's 200 years old. It's been around for a while and it hasn't changed. You know, it's like, if you look at us as humans, we haven't changed much in the last couple hundred years. You know, we have desires, we have wants, we have needs, and how we get sold to has been around for a very long time. It's not changing anytime soon. So if you just take what works from the past and you put that into the new format, the only thing that's changed is the media. You know, it's how we communicate. Like, we wouldn't have been doing this 10 years ago. We wouldn't be on a conference call seeing each other right here. So it would be a very different medium of how I would communicate. That's the only thing that's changed. You know, we have websites now where we can communicate with the world for pennies. That wasn't around 20 years ago. You know, if you wanted to communicate with the world, you had to buy a television ad, and no one could afford it, only the big companies. So the internet has really leveled the playing field. It's given opportunity to the little guy. It's put the power in our hands. You know, the only thing we have to do is we have to understand the techniques the big guys used that were successful and use them ourselves. And that's what the ACT program is. It's the ad agency model. It is an exact replica of what they've been using for hundreds of years that works. And I guarantee you, you put that in play, it's going to work for you just like it worked for them. That whole thing hasn't changed. You know, the biggest problem I see is people jumping into creation first. They think, I got to build a website. I got to write a book. I got to do this. I got to create something. I got to build a product. That's not the way those guys work. They do analysis. They look at, okay, where's the market? What are the segments of the market? What's the most profitable segment of this market? And what do those people need? They will literally build a product around that. That's the way the most successful companies in the world work. They find a hole and they fill it, and they make a lot of money doing it. So get out of creation. You know, do your analysis first. Figure out the market. Figure out where's the most profitable section of the market. What's that avatar? And what does he need that's not being provided? If you want the quick path to money and success in business, that's it. You know, if you're in there providing something that everyone else and their brother is providing, you can do it. You got to have much better marketing than the other guys, but it's a tough road. It's, you know, it's a steep hill to climb. So that's really what it's all about. Cheryl asks, what are H1 tags? H means header. It's like a heading tag. Like if you're doing word processing, you'll use a header tag to separate your content. Like you might have an H1 tag is typically the main tag for the whole piece of content. It's like the title of the document sometimes. And then you'll have an H2 tag that will be like your segments, like your subheaders. And each subheader will be the header relating to the next piece of content. And so on and so forth. I think they go to like H6 or 8 or something like that. But the main one is the title of your page, and your H1 tag is typically matches that title. And then your H2 tags down the page are your subheaders of content further down. So that's it. Let's see. Any other questions here before we wrap up for today? A tag is something I have to add. Yeah, tags in web pages, tags are part of the HTML code. So like in WordPress, you can add your tags in there. There's sections to add those tags to your content. So again, that's probably not something that you want to become an expert in, when you can hire somebody off Fiverr to go in and add those tags for you. The important thing for you really is to figure out what your market really wants, create the content around it, and then let somebody, optimize that for you for performance. So your main goal in business should be to serve your customers, not to become an SEO expert or an HTML expert. That's not your best use of your time. Best use of your time is to figure out, really get an understanding of the market, and figure out how you can make marketing that attaches their need and their desire to your product. That's the way you build that demand and desire. And then at that point, overcome their objections and you should be good to go. So in that, by the way, that all ties in and wraps back around to good quality SEO. Back to my original thing, I've said this from the very beginning when I started SEO, over 20 years ago. I said, if it's good for the business and the business owner would do it naturally, it's probably going to be in your favor for SEO. Google's going to like it. And back then there wasn't even a Google. I said the search engine's going to like it. And that has held true throughout my entire career. I've never had a client banned from doing something that a normal business owner would do in the process of their business. And I don't ever see it happening. So that's how I've kept everybody safe for so many years. All right, guys. Well, if anything else, come out. If not, we'll go ahead and wrap up for the week.
Can I just ask one thing very quickly, John?
Sure, absolutely.
Cool. I've got a page builder very similar to Kartra. Been using it for a while. It's called Convertri, and on the actual pages, you've got a page title, and there's a field to actually input something. Then page description, blah blah, presumably. But it says that you can put keywords in there, and I'm wondering how many. Obviously I've done my keyword research, and I've got billions of them, and I can plug them into Google Analytics and various keyword tools and find out, which ones to aim for. But I'm not sure on page with these page builders how many I would put in, or one or two, and then I've got 2 slider tabs that say no index or no follow, either on or off, and I'm like, well, it depends, because according to you, the no follow stuff.
Yeah. So with the tags, let me start with the keyword. I'll answer the keyword one first. With keywords, you want to have probably no more than 5. They should all be very related to what it is.
Yeah.
But 5, I wouldn't go beyond that. The keyword tag, this is actually a meta tag that it's going to get injected into. You put your 5 keywords, and when I say keyword, it's a phrase.
Yeah.
A keyword can be a phrase. It's not a single word. Like
yeah.
blue suede shoes is a keyword.
Cool.
So after your keyword, you put a comma and then the next keyword. So you separate your keywords with commas. I would do no more than 5. Make sure the 5 are very highly related. If you want to really nail that down, go down to the bottom of the Google search page and see what they feel is related. Those are going to be your best 5. And then,
so what's this? What do you say? No follow.
Yeah,
I'm
okay, for follow and no follow, basically what that tag is doing is that's telling the search engine either to follow the links or to not follow the links.
Yeah.
So within your site, there's no reason for you to say don't follow these.
Right.
So it's natural to leave that to be follow.
Cool.
Like, let's say if you wanted to link to somebody that's outside your page, and maybe you don't want Google to follow that, that would be a good reason to put that no follow on a particular link.
Right, got you.
And then the indexing means I want this page in the Google index, or I don't want this page in the Google index. Yeah. And the reason that you might not want a page to be indexed is maybe it's your privacy policy. There's no reason really to index that content. But the main part of your site, there's no reason to not index the rest of your site.
Cool.
I let Google index everything. I don't block it from indexing anything.
All right, fair enough. I was thinking as well, I mean, I'm getting really into the statistical side of things and Google Analytics, and I've got quite a few new bits and pieces back there that I've been looking at. And because I've just about got through the ACT course now. I downloaded it some time ago. Did it in hospital, actually. and I've really got my head around it just about. And the thing that I'm wondering is just basic stuff. Like, so on my page, I've ended up with quite a few scripts that I'm going to need to put in the body. But I'm just like, is it one after the other after the other? Can I just do that?
Yeah, generally with scripts, like when you're adding pixel scripts and adding the Google scripts and all that stuff, sometimes they will tell you it needs to be in the head tag. And if that's the case, yes, it does need to be in the head tag. So you can just put it in there, at the end of the head tag. If they don't say it has to be in the head tag and it needs to be in the body, I would recommend putting them at the bottom of your body, right before the end body tag.
Okay.
But yeah, you just line them in one after another.
So there doesn't have to be anything else. You just that's cool. I just didn't want to waste my time on a lot of pages, So cool.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah, you can just line them in. Now sometimes when you add a bunch of code into a head tag, and again, this is probably more technical than a lot of you are going to care about, but when you add code into a head tag, the more code you put in the head tag, the more Google's got to chew through it to get to your content.
Yeah.
So you want to try and optimize the head tags to be as short as possible. One way you can do that is you can take all that code and you can put it into a text file and you can reference it with a tag. That's the same way they do with style tags, style sheets.
Okay.
They don't put the entire style sheet in the head tag. They put it into a CSS file, which is a text file, and then they reference that.
That's what they're for, right?
So you can do the same thing. You can take all that, all that junk code, you just put it into a text file and reference it.
Down. Right. Okay, cool.
That's a way to clean your code up, clean your head tags up.
Thanks, John.
Sure, absolutely. All right. Anything else before we stick a fork in it for today? All right, guys. Have a great week and happy Halloween. I won't talk to you before then, but we will be back on next Thursday. I'll be coming to you from Vegas. So
awesome. Thanks, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to you then and have a great week.